TMC is clarifying it that when the permission for these rallies, processions were sought, then no comment had come from the police side. Now, when this has happened, the police authorities and the TMC is saying that permission was not given to them. Seeking a permission and getting a permission are two different things. So, do you believe that there is some thin line, some gray area where these things are happening? Because TMC is also claiming that it's the BJP's attitude to create ruckus, and that's why this has happened. On the other hand, police obviously is coming under the question. So, what exactly is happening?
Yeah, there is a gray area. There is no doubt that the VHP convener had sought permission for the rally. Now, few minutes back, Abhishek Banerjee, the second in command of TMC, had shown a letter purportedly given by the police department giving 4 conditions for holding the rally. If this letter is true, then police was well aware that the rally would take place, and they had given 4 conditions to hold the rally, and the conditions were not that much that you should not deviate from the route that you have written in the letter, and you should not use foul and languages or gesture to the other community, and should not carry weapons like swords or any other weapon. So police was well aware. Whether they have given permission or not, I don't think that is much of a big thing, because it's a practice that police don't give permission in most of the cases. Like when Trinamool Congress holds a rally in the the capital, they also inform police, and police just receives the copy. They are informed. They don't officially give any permission. So police was in dark. That's not true in my mind.
Right. Subir Bhaumik there with senior journalist also with us. Subir, now as my colleague Saikat was mentioning, police's role, whether they were in the dark or whether they gave the permission or not, or whatever the procedure is, that is beyond the point that such kind of violence has happened. In your opinion, do you believe that BJP in a way is pointing to the fact that police did not do anything because the government belongs to the TMC and who is in power, and hence they should be responsible for the violence?
Well, it doesn't stand to logic, because if there is a government in power, they have to get the situation under control. So it's not to be expected that they will influence the police and the police will do nothing, because if the police does nothing, normally, what I'm trying to say is police often is inactive. They are not very clear about political directives, what will please whom, and that kind of thing. But the point here is that if they don't act decisively, ultimately they are going to face the blame, and the government of the day is going to face the blame. So, but it's also true that the second phase of violence happened when the police was there in strength. How it happened, why it happened, well, subject to inquiry, investigation. But one thing is true. That is that permissions are given. Here the BJP says they had permission. They were going through the right route. The TMC is saying they were violating the route. They were not sticking to the route for which the permission had been given. They were deliberately trying to go through a minority area to create trouble. So the allegation here is not, it's not the case of permission not being given. The case here is one side is saying we had permission to go through the route we were going through. The other side is saying they were not going through the route which has been allotted to them, because they deliberately wanted to go into an area to create mayhem and ruckus, and that's the allegation. So at the end of the day, regardless of the political tutu mama that's going on at the moment, and that will continue, and that's become a regular reality, what I would insist is that the police, apart from, whichever political masters they serve, to get their professional bearings right. Because the Bengal police was very famous, for a long period of our history, even our post-colonial history, for their professional efficiency. They are the people who sort of tackled the Naxalite movement in the 70s when we were students. Sometimes there were reports of excesses, but basically they were professional enough to handle it. That has, that is no longer the case. The police very often keeps looking backward, what their political masters will think, what the other side will allege, because now you have the BJP here, which is an opposition party, and their party is in power in the center. So, they are looking out at political fallouts and stuff like that rather than doing their own job properly. And that's why things like this happen and situations spill out of control.
Right. Subir, you are a journalist, you are an author also, and as the saying goes that every story has three sides: your side, my side, and the real side. Now, looking at the visuals that we have been playing here, it looks like the way people are expressing their anger, not just on main roads, but in small streets also, on empty roads also. There is a man who is bashing a particular pizza outlet's hoarding out of anger, and then he throws the motorcycles out. In these visuals here, in a 10 feet galiara, they are actually breaking things. So, what does it reflect upon us? How does it reflect on our society? Because what happened in Delhi in 2021 also was not the right thing. That was the need of the hour, shouldn't have happened, but then it happened, and now we are seeing similar situations, if not of that scale, in Howrah.
Well, this is new India on display for you. The India of intolerance, the India of chaos, the India of anarchy. I mean, this is what is there. And in Bengal, we did not have this. Bengal has a history of violence, but it's political violence, not communal violence to the extent that we see in some of the other Indian states. But now these things are coming here. But here I must tell you that what you see there is a couple of people doing, the visuals. I mean, this is not just something that's happening spontaneously. This is part of a mob which was whipped, where feelings were whipped up. They were sort of, and this seems to be very targeted attacking. The way this guy is going about breaking things is not, something of a mayhem and madness. This is a very organized kind of planned kind of attacking.